To pause amidst a continual barrage of fresh horrors is a radical act. We can stop the constant activity to honor the dead, the discarded, the lost, the bombed, the starving, the deported, the endings. We can stop the constant activity to defy the systems reliant on this violence and fear and greed. Let us pause and be confused, despairing, rageful, grieving, and perhaps still hopeful together. In these 15 minutes, you're invited to be comfortable and present to yourself. Do whatever you need to do to be able to just receive and listen. Each day, Monday through Friday, I share a word and a theme and also a question, as well as a reading, a poem, a song, an exercise, and we follow the alphabet. So here are some of the questions that we have been asking recently. My pace, my tone is intentionally slow and deliberate. We want to provide this time, this space, this recording to be an oasis in the grind and in the anxiety of our workplaces. We want to offer a practice that is grounding, regulating, and feasible in our professional lives. And we want this time together to be a chance for you to reconnect with yourself amidst everything. And that is so important so that you may be connected to those around you, to the places and spaces that you inhabit throughout your busy day. We invest this time in reconnection because between us is where possibility lives. And I want to offer our question today, which is authority. Ooh, authority has been on my mind of late. I've been noticing the ways that people have been taught to outsource their inner authority, that innate knowing. People in my world have been taught to disconnect from that, from birth often. And detaching from authority, it shows itself as is incredibly important because authority is showing itself as unworthy of trust. We actually, in these times, have to resist a learned craving for authority and offer ourselves and those around us permission to be human. There's so much fracturing around us. But I've also been witnessing so many people in my circles becoming more daring, listening to that inner authority and daring to say the hard thing that needs to be said, daring to shine a light on what's not working, daring to contradict or critique the boss, the authority. And by doing so, brave humans are not only showing up for their own inner authority, their own integrity, but they are daring to shift communities, daring to shift organizational cultures by loving their colleagues, by loving their collaborators, by loving their neighbors with their truth. And when we are navigating cultures of oppression, which are really just cultures of compliance, compliance that's required by white supremacy, by patriarchy, by settler capitalism to continue. In this culture, information and ideas are not neutral. when we think about our professional lives, that advice we offer to our partners or our colleagues often carries with it a positioning, a distancing, an othering, an overing. That should or must energy carries a code. And so, in a culture where we are constantly instructed to outsource that inner authority, should and the energy of should establishes and reinforces hierarchy. So, where my own inner signals do not match with the advice given, I resist. And when I can't, for whatever reason, I resent. That's just me. And people in positions of authority often use shame, the should, as a tool because it shuts down dissent. It reinforces the rules very efficiently, actually, and very quickly. And so, in our family, culture, religion, society, when we're taught to outsource that inner authority, as we are parented, as we are educated, as we are employed, we start to learn that in that experience, that obedience and fulfillment of others' expectations are what is deemed as goodness, as success, as belonging. So it's not surprising to me when it comes to transforming our society, let alone our communities or ourselves, that we still seek to align ourselves with what is supposed to be right. As a marker of good character, helpfulness is a celebrated aspect of my culture. In the US mainstream, do-gooders are almost universally venerated. And helpfulness in my own family, which was very gendered, as descendants of German settler farmers, from a tender age, you are instructed and you want to help your caregivers. We learn that to please the authority gains approval, affection, favor, and benefit. So of course we want to please the authority. We hear all of these messages. And so we learn to help in even hierarchical ways, in often ways that are rigid or strict or rarely accountable. And it shows up in our language, but most importantly, it shows up in our partnership practices. I mean, really, let's think about of the hours you have in your workday, how much of that greater good each day is spent and shaped by the needs of more authority, the needs of those with more resources, or more positional power to monitor and oversee your work. Just think about it. How much of your time is serving authority rather than the greater good? And let's try to work on that balance. I want to read a poem by a friend and a colleague and a collaborator, Swati Deepak. And it just represents a reality, the racial tensions, the gendered tensions that are a part of global movements, that are a part of global development spaces and organizations. Um, and when Swati wrote this and we shared it on How Matters, she said that it expresses the tensions, emotions, and fire that is catalyzed by those realities, and how this recalls our ancestors, even. This is called Fire and Light, a poem by Swati Deepak. White women like you just take. You take the love, the support, and you benefit from the approach of women of color, like me, who push through their own trauma to center everyone. All the while, you're taking up space for yourself. It's just proven to me that the fragility of white women means women of color always have to give up their space and power for white women like you. It's reinforced to me how your trauma and experience is so willfully self-centered in the midst of my insistence on centering others. Such entitlement for opportunities for travel, understanding, and respect, all the while visiting the sites of poverty, trauma, of people of color, and only concentrating on your own pain. You can't accept my power, my authority, their authority, and our grace. You feel threatened. But the power of my ancestors and my fellow brothers and sisters have fought and continue to fight for a future with grace, love, fire, and light. I carry their hopes for a future with that same resilience, brilliance, and light. There is no way you can extinguish our power or erase the light and fight of my ancestors or me. I love the grace and the rage in that poem, and I want to call us all to bring that rage, that grace, to question authority, to question the mind, the little voice in our mind that says it has to be done this way, or it can't be better, or it's not worth it. It's worth it. This is a time when it's all worth it because there is an opening. There are cracks everywhere. And in that crack, we get to listen to ourselves and our own truth. And we get to combine them in new ways that are for all of us. And thank God it's time. So, how do you want to relate to authority today? As always, the pause is offered at no cost, but I'm going to offer these links and these QR codes to get in touch and to support this experiment and this space. And please visit how-matters.org to learn more about my work and my work with my partner Amanda. And feel free to reach out, please, anytime. And as always, we end with the Terma Collective. May our eyes remain open, even in the face of tragedy. May we not become disheartened. May we find in the disillusion of our apathy and denial a cup of the broken heart. May we discover the gift of the fire burning in the inner chamber of our being, burning great and bright enough to transform any poison, to challenge any authority. May we offer the power of our sorrow to the service of something greater than ourselves. May our guilt not rise up to form yet another defensive wall. May the suffering purify and not paralyze us. May we endure. May sorrow bond us and not separate us. May we realize the greatness of our sorrow and not run from its touch or its flame. May clarity be our ally and wisdom our support. May our wrath be cleansing, cutting through the confusion of denial and greed. May we not be afraid to see or speak our truth. May the bleakness of the wasteland be dispelled. May the soul's journey be revealed and the true hunger fed. May we be forgiven for what we have forgotten and blessed with the remembrance of who we really are. Thank you for being here today, and take good care.